In the vast tapestry of existence, waiting stands as an invisible battlefield where faith and patience intertwine in a sublime duet. It is in this arid terrain, far from immediate action and instant comfort, that true spiritual strength is forged. Here we will explore the prayer of faith in waiting, a journey that is revealed through the pages of the Bible and the lessons that teach us about the mastery over our emotions and the power to trust in divine time. Waiting is often seen as a test. But what does it really mean to wait on the Lord? The answer is not simple, because it requires a deep dive into the stories of faith that have shaped generations. When we look at the Scriptures, we see a clear pattern. God's promise is not a guarantee of immediate fulfillment. Instead, it is an invitation to trust in His infinite wisdom. Psalm 27 verse 14 teaches us, "Wait for the Lord, be encouraged, and He will strengthen your heart. Hope, therefore, for the Lord." Here the psalmist challenges us to find courage not in instant fulfillment, but in the certainty that God's time is always the most appropriate. He invites us to a journey that goes beyond the immediate, into the deep, where faith becomes our anchor. To understand the essence of waiting, we examine the lives of biblical figures who faced the challenge with courage and perseverance. Each of these stories reveals how faith can flourish in expectation and how self-control and fortitude are cultivated along the way. Abraham is an iconic example of faith in waiting. God promised Abraham that he would be the father of a great nation, but it took decades for this promise to come true. During this time, Abraham and Sarah faced doubts and tried to solve the promise on their own, resulting in challenges and complications. Genesis 15 verse 6 gives us a glimpse of the depth of Abraham's faith. "And Abraham believed in the Lord, and this was imputed to him as righteousness." Abraham's expectation was not in vain, for he learned to trust the divine plan even when fulfillment seemed distant. His example teaches us that true faith is not just believing that God can do something, but trusting in His will and His time. Joseph, the son of Jacob, also experienced painful waiting. His dreams of greatness were followed by years of betrayal, injustice, and imprisonment. However, at every stage of his life he maintained an attitude of faith and trust in the Lord. In Genesis 50 verse 20, after the revelation of his position of power in Egypt, Joseph says to his brothers, "You have indeed thought evil against me, but God has made it good." Joseph not only waited for his dreams to come true, but he also used the waiting time to grow in character and wisdom. He shows us that even in the most challenging situations, waiting can be a school of virtue and understanding. Prayer, in its essence, is a communication with the divine that transcends time and space. When we are in wait, prayer is not just a means of seeking answers, but an exercise of spiritual strengthening. It is the practice of prayer that aligns us with the divine will and gives us the courage to persevere. In Philippians 4 verses 6 to 7, we find a clear instruction on prayer. "Be not troubled for anything, before your petitions are in all things known before God, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. And the peace of God, which exceeds all understanding, will keep your hearts and thoughts in Christ Jesus." Prayer not only allows us to express our concerns, but it also offers us the peace that comes from trust in a greater plane. The true test of faith is not just waiting patiently, but maintaining an attitude of self-control and fortitude during the process. This means dealing with the impatience and destructive emotions that often arise while we wait. James 1 verses 3 to 4 gives us a perspective on how patience develops our faith. "Knowing that the test of your faith produces patience. But have patience your perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, not deficient." Waiting is not a period of inactivity, but an opportunity for personal and spiritual growth. When facing destructive emotions such as frustration and anxiety, we are challenged to seek the inner strength that comes from faith. Waiting requires that we set aside our own immediate desires and trust in the perfection of the divine plan. This requires self-control that goes beyond the simple deferment of gratification. It is a deep commitment to trust in God. Waiting is a journey that transcends mere patience. It is an opportunity to deepen our connection with the divine and strengthen our spirit. In Romans 8 verse 25 we read, "But if we wait for what we do not see, then with patience we await it." This hope is not passive, but active, involving a deep engagement with the will of God. This spiritual journey is both a path of discovery and development. As we navigate the challenges of waiting, we learn to discern God's voice in the midst of silence and to trust in His perfect timing. Each moment of waiting is a chance to draw closer to God and reflect on our own journey of faith. The prayer of faith in waiting is a lesson of trust, patience, and fortitude. It is an invitation to dive into the depth of our faith and face destructive emotions with courage and self-control. The biblical stories of Abraham, Joseph, and other heroes of faith show us that true strength comes not from immediate realization, but from continued trust in God's time and plan. On our own journey, we are challenged to adopt a long-term perspective, recognizing that God's timing is always perfect. Waiting is an opportunity to grow, to strengthen our faith, and to learn to trust in the divine wisdom that transcends our limited understandings. May we face our own expectations with the same determination and faith as the great men and women of the Bible, knowing that through prayer and patience, we will find not only the fulfillment of our hopes, but a deeper connection with the divine purpose that shapes our lives. As we sail the uncertain seas of waiting, let us remember the words of Psalm 37 verse 7, "Rest in the Lord and hope in Him." This is the essence of faith in waiting, a confident rest in the Lord and the assurance that His plan, in His time, will be fulfilled. May this understanding guide and strengthen us in every moment of our spiritual journey.